Who are you most fascinated by right now, company-wise?
Well, I saw yesterday said he's selling all his properties. He's going to have zero property possession.
Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
We're rocking. So first off, Uncle G, how you doing, brother? How's everything going through this pandemic for you?
I'm doing all right, man. Pushing through it. So so much uncertainty for so many people. It really concerns me about more than myself. It concerns me for the everyday person that's
right.
Maybe on the upward move and they're trying to get to where they wanted to go, and then they just lost a job or their business is failing right now. It's a sad state of affairs for a lot of people.
It is, man. And I'll tell you what, I started my business when I was 17 years old. Now I'm 28. And I've been reading, your books, and I've been following you for a long time. And I think that people like you motivate a lot of entrepreneurs to throw on some tough skin when they're in this type of situation, because hardships make real entrepreneurs, right? It's like shit like this you can't plan for. You just get whacked in the face with this. So, I just want to first and foremost thank you for what you do for the entrepreneurship community, man, because I've been a follower for a long time, been watching your journey, and to see you get into even the 10X growth conference has been nuts. So welcoming you on to Breaking Barriers, guys. I just want anybody who doesn't know Uncle G, you better get the hell out of underneath whatever rock you're under. But Grant Cardone is the CEO of Cardone Capital. He's an international speaker, entrepreneur, author of the 10X Rule, creator of the 21 best-selling programs, which is freaking badass, man. 21, like that's intense. And then to keep even furthering that, Cardone owns and operates 7 privately held companies, $1.4 billion in portfolio of multifamily properties, and also obviously the founder of the 10X Movement and Growth Conference. So thank you so much, brother, for being here, man.
Thank you for doing this and being willing to, open up your audience to new ideas and new ways of doing things.
Yeah, man. I think more than ever, a lot of our audience, we have people listening in from the UK, Australia, US, and a lot of these entrepreneurs, whether they're just starting or whether they're already successful, this is the time to learn and sharpen your sales friggin' tools. And there's nobody out there bigger and better than you when it comes to getting better at your marketing, getting better at your sales, getting better at your mindset. So, when we put out there, who do we want next? It was almost like, I would say it was close to over 20,000 people like, we want Grant, like easily. So with that being said, here we are diving in. And one of the first questions that we got, Grant, was, what does it look like for the Cardone morning routine? So what does that morning routine look like for you? Because you're jacked up, brother. You look like you're in great shape. You are in great shape. So how does this work into your day?
Yeah, look, and I think it's really important that people, that point you're making right there. Like, there's so many people online right now giving advice.
Mm-hmm.
People need to find find someone and follow them. But just do a little research.
Right.
Don't just listen to what people say. This is a huge mistake I made in my life. Early on, I was so impressionable
mm-hmm.
that anybody that had more success than me, I would listen to them.
Right.
And I remember, dude, I was recommending a guy's book only to find out he committed suicide.
Oh my God.
Another guy that I was following because he had a good rap. The guy he could spit. And he had more business experience than me. And then his, for all the good he did in business and the money he made, he had 3 other parts of his life that were falling apart.
Right.
So and look, I learned a lot from both those people, but the problem is it limited me on having like the life that I have today is because I have refused to settle on one area, just being the sales guy or just being the, like I was on a podcast recently and the guy couldn't quit asking me sales questions. I'm like, bro, look, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you say at the door. Don't you understand? Like,
right.
got to have a pipeline. You got to build a business. At some point, you got to go beyond handling the objection.
Right.
And at this moment, right now in time, the rituals, and you're asking the right question, rituals, the daily rituals will determine how much discipline you have in the moment. And that the rituals right now are more vital than they were 3 or 4 months ago. So a lot of guys give advice on them. They got lots of rituals. One guy's going to do a cold bath. He's going to do a cold plunge. Another guy's going to do meditation. What are you doing in between all that, though? That's good. Like I want to control what time I go to sleep, pick up 8 hours of sleep, and then I really need to put control in on the rest of my day.
Right.
So what am I doing every morning? What's my ritual when I wake up? What's my go-to move?
Right.
And then throughout the day, it's not just one, it's not the morning, it's the daily ritual. It's what does my day look like? When are my meetings? How long are my calls?
Right.
When do I get a nap time? Do I take a 15-minute nap every day? Do I watch some Netflix? Like, I've been picking up a bunch of TV right now.
Right. Right.
But you got to be careful that the binge doesn't become
like the new lifestyle almost, right?
Yeah. I've also, in addition to adding some little binge TV on the weekends, because of my office is remote and everything, I've added some study time right now. So I have a specific time where I study each day. So people just need to, it doesn't matter what time you get up, whether it's 4 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Some people are going to get up at midnight, dude. Like they're going to be like, that's where I'm going. I'm going to go at midnight and then we're going to go all morning if they're an artist. But it's really, what are you doing in between that puts discipline and structure and starts moving you down the field,
right,
toward where you're going, which is probably you probably need to be on the phone right now talking to people,
right,
making contacts, getting known,
right, building that network. One of the things that I absolutely fucking loved. Actually, I read this a couple of years ago about you. That initially when you first started to like date your wife, like she wasn't like, feeling you right away, and you had to keep being persistent and being persistent and being persistent. And ultimately now you have 2 beautiful, daughters, and, and you're married, and, and so, one of the things that I think that not enough people realize about you, and you said it perfectly, is that everyone always jumps into sales. Like how much of a well-rounded entrepreneur that you are is extremely fascinating to me, because again, it's not just about the sales aspect. You build a team around you clearly that helps and that performs and helps you build these companies. One of the things that I'm curious about is, how do you find your top talent? Being a young entrepreneur like myself and scaling my companies and all the business owners that we talk to, it's like, what's your method to doing so?
Yeah. So you bring up another great point. First of all, first thing I was known for was I've always been a little bit of a wild guy, right? So in high school I was known as the wild guy, and then that turned into a drug problem, and then I got recovery from my drug addiction,
right?
Cleaned up, and then I was known as, oh dude, he's the guy that stopped using drugs cold,
right?
Turned his whole life around, and then I'm like, okay, well I don't want to be known as that,
right,
forever. Then I became a good sales guy. I hated sales, absolutely hated it. And then I'm like, I need to lean into this thing. I have to become a leader before I can attract leaders.
Right.
So I was a sales guy from 23 years old to 30 years old. I never thought about running my own business, ever. I had zero thoughts of, I'm going to be the owner one day.
Right.
And I just wanted to be the best salesperson I could. Then I was forced into a business role where I had to start my own company. I mean, I literally had to, otherwise I wouldn't have had any work. And again, I was the sales leader there for years. I was the only salesman. I didn't have any money.
Right.
I didn't have any money. I didn't have a marketing campaign. There was no Facebook. There was no internet. Imagine this was my internet. Knock, knock, knock. And that was the only way to get to a customer. So I had to start learning how to market and promote myself the hard way.
Right.
And I figured out how to do that. And I became the guy that knew how to sell stuff around the country. But at some point you got to scale.
Right.
Okay. At some point you're like, oh, I'm great at this. Or then I started speaking to audiences and I became a decent speaker. And then people started identifying me as a speaker. But this is that well-rounded thing that you're talking about, right? How do you then one day say, okay, I'm a good salesman. I know how to put money together. I was buying real estate at 35 years old. I started investing in real estate. I had a little bit of real estate, but I didn't feel like I was a businessman because I had not, which means I got to hire people. I got to bring people in. I lead people, guide people, cash flow, handle people, keep selling them, staying on the thing, create a culture. Building a business is one of the things I would not recommend to most people. It's a pain in the ass. It is endless. It's worse than getting a pet, right? Because you always have to clean up, man. Like, and it doesn't always love you. It's not always good to you like a dog is, you know? So, but I've been a business owner now for 30 years, and I've been through a lot of bad economies. We have a fairly legitimate business now. There's 7 enterprises. There's $1.7 billion worth of real estate, 500 employees. It's still a pain in the ass. And by the way, when the economy contracts, it becomes way more complex.
Of course.
That's when you got to know stuff about balance sheets, cash flow. You got to start saying no to stuff. You got to know who to let go, who to keep. You got to know compensation programs. So your question about how do you attract leaders, the one simple answer is the easiest way to attract great people. There's one simple answer. Okay. Fucking be great at what you do. Because great people want to be around great people.
I love that.
Great people. You're not going to find great people in an organization of 3 people.
No.
I've never met unbelievable talent in a company that has 2 or 3 people.
Right.
You need a lot of people. I've been studying companies. I've been trying to become somebody that I was admired my whole life.
Right.
And particularly since 2008. In 2008, I really started studying. Who do I need to study? There's 1 million people online you could study, dude.
Right.
Right. So I'm like, who do I study? Do I listen to Mark Cuban on his advice today? It might be good, but Mark admits that he's not really interested in running businesses today.
Right.
He wants to make investments where he's a distance away. He's not running it. He's not in it every day. That's not what he wants to do.
Right.
So do I look at the guy on Instagram that's written 2 books or 20 books,
right,
but has no employees?
Right.
So everybody's got to find who they want to follow. I've been studying companies. And this is really the inspiration behind the 10X rule. There is no greatness without scale.
Right.
And you cannot find. Yeah.
No. I was just going to ask you, when it comes to that scale and the greatness, that was actually my next question is how did you, again, you just talked about how, you weren't interested in owning a company, got forced into it. But then, dude, you scaled companies over, over 100 million, so in revenue. So and seven private, 1.7 billion under assets under management. How did you get to that point of scaling? I get that question all the time from
because I did the wrong stuff so long, man. I was like, the only thing I've done right really is not quit.
Right.
But I've made so many mistakes along the way. Like this, I should be a billionaire many times over right now, but I didn't go for it.
Right.
Look, I didn't look up the definition of entrepreneur until 9 years ago. And I read it says someone who starts or manages a company or companies and putting time and money at risk. That's not the exact definition. I'll look it up for you, but and for me too.
And while you're looking that up,
because dude, I wasn't investing money, bro. I was stacking dough. A person who organized, I didn't even want to organize anything. I just wanted to make some money.
Right.
That's why I love sales so much, because I could sell something, get a commission, and move on. And I got hooked on that deal like a junkie. I was like a junkie. I was like, okay, I just want my commission.
Right.
Well, I did that for 20 years. Still today, I still err on that today. I'm still like, let's make some money right now. Okay. Right. An entrepreneur is someone who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. That by definition would make most entrepreneurs, most people that call themselves entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs.
Correct.
Because they risk no money. They will not take out debt. They have more money invested in their house than they do their company or their payroll. And they're running a one-man show, and the one man is them, and they don't even pay themselves. That was me.
Right.
So you see who I am today. But look, if you'd have met me when I was 45 years old, I had 3 employees, a bunch of 1099 guys that I didn't pay only on performance, and I officed out of my house.
Right.
And I was making, I don't know, I was making maybe $1 million, $2 million a year. And then 2008 came along and says, hey, let me show you what $2 million looks like. It looks like this.
Right.
It looks like, because you take off 1 0 off of $2 million. Now you're down to 200 grand, but you got 3 employees and you got a big house and you got all the bullshit. And you're like, shit, I ain't got any money and I'm scared to death.
Right.
And you can't take advantage of it. So I'm just saying that because, you know, it took me a long time because I was studying the wrong people.
Right.
I was studying my neighbor, man, the doctor that you know could go to Costco and buy 3 weeks of food. I thought he was rich because his house was paid for. I was studying people that had made a little bit of money and put it away.
Right.
And I wasn't studying companies. Study companies.
Who are you most fascinated by right now, company-wise?
Well, you know, I saw Elon Musk yesterday said he's selling all his properties. He's going to have 0 property possessions.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think it's brilliant.
Right.
You know, because what he wants to also, when he sold, what was the first company? PayPal.
Yeah, PayPal. Yep.
PayPal. Yeah. You know, he reinvested 100% of the proceeds into his 3 companies that he has today.
Right.
And rented where he lived.
Wow.
So that's cool. I like that story, right? Warren Buffett. I like watching Warren. I like watching Warren because Warren says one thing. He's a sly motherfucker. That guy is so smart because he's like, oh yeah, if you just study stocks investing in America over the last 50 years, he don't invest in America. That dude invests in companies.
Right.
He believes in America, but he invests in companies and he's willing to get out of a stock when he makes a bad choice.
Right.
So he's willing to cut his ties and move on down the road. And he keeps a lot of cash around and he makes huge investments. He does not, he's not buying ETFs.
Right.
Mutual funds. He doesn't have a retirement account. He tells people they should do that shit.
Right.
But that's not what he does. So that's been a big thing for me is watching what people do and listening a little less to what they say.
Right.
Like when you see me because you study me, you're like, okay, the dude's in good shape. 62 years old. He's in better shape than most 32-year-olds.
Most 20-year-olds, my guy. Come on now.
The guy works his ass off every day. Like I'm not just doing podcasts every day.
No
offense to the podcast, but I've written 8 books, 21 best-selling business programs. You know what makes them best-selling? They made freaking a lot of money.
Right.
Okay. Like I'm bragging right now. I got webinars that have made more money than all 8 of my books combined.
Wow. So
we've done business with Fortune 500 companies for 30 years.
Right.
You don't do business with Chrysler Motor Company for 30 years and screw them.
No.
So people are like, man, how do you handle all this bullshit I hear about you on the internet? Because I know it's not true.
Right.
You know, you don't get $1 billion worth of loans from banks because you don't pay people and you don't do the right thing.
Right.
So people should do 2 things. Number 1, when you go to study somebody, dude, do your homework on him. Just because he copied somebody's quote and threw it up on Instagram doesn't mean that's your guy.
Right.
Just because he makes you feel good. Maybe you don't need to feel good right now. You need to study people that have a track record where in spaces that you want a track record.
Right.
I may or may not be that guy for some people, right? So like I don't give spiritual guidance.
Right.
So number two is find out who that person really is in all of their life. And then two, what is it you want? Get really clear about. I wanted to be a businessman. I didn't want to be a sales guy anymore.
Right.
I'm being a sales guy. I got that thing. I know how to do that deal. How do I become a marketing genius? Okay. Oh, then it's like, man, how could I become a hedge fund guy? How could I raise $1 billion in cash and put it to work?
Right.
In the last 25 months, using Instagram and Facebook, we've raised as of today, $360 million in cash.
Wow. Hold on. Okay. We gotta celebrate that one.
Without paying one penny to a middleman.
Oh, come on now.
Not one penny. Okay. So we did that using Instagram and Facebook. So you guys look at people on Instagram and Facebook and you're like, oh man, that guy got this dude over here, this chick over here. She got 17,000 likes and comments, 500 comments. Yeah, but she didn't make any money.
Exactly. Right. What's her strategy?
She probably doesn't have one. Likes, popularity. People want to be popular.
Right.
And right now in this economy, and this is what I've been warning about people for years. I'm like, man, you got to get money now. I was telling people this a year ago. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, oh shit, what are you doing buying a house and a Ferrari and a freaking Richard? Okay. Or the Patek or whatever watch you're buying or the Rolex when you don't have your money right.
Right.
And so get that right. Get your balance sheet right. Mm-hmm. I have studied finances now since probably for a good part of 25 years. I understand finances now. What is a balance sheet? What is cash flow?
Right.
What is leverage? What is good leverage and bad leverage? Mm-hmm. And so I'm able to run a company even through an event like this. I'm going to be able to expand my company because my balance sheet is so strong. Mm-hmm. And everybody can learn this, by the way. You don't have to go back to college. If I can learn this, you can learn it, but you can't learn it if you're following deadbeats.
Right.
They just look good or sound good on Instagram. So put the whole package together, study their whole life, and then two, make a list of what it is I had to decide who does Grant want to be so I could figure out who I want to study. Mm-hmm. And that's what brought me to companies. I want to study companies because when I die, mm-hmm. I want to leave something. And people, you don't leave your body hanging out. No. Okay. Like nobody's figured out how to do that, but I'm going to leave a body of work and I'll leave some businesses and I'll leave a charity and these are bodies. These are physical structures that can stay in place to serve a society after I'm gone. That I'll be able to leave Cardone University. Cardone Capital will never be destroyed. It is indestructible.
Right. And you built it to do that.
I built all my businesses were being built right now to handle this environment we're in right now.
That's badass, man.
Yeah, United Air. Look, I have more cash than United Airlines.
Wow.
Okay, and American combined.
That's insane.
Like, because their business model's been broken.
Right.
So they had to go borrow money to stay in the game. Like their balance sheet is busted. Right. So the everyday American needs to understand, man, how do I get there? You don't get there staying small.
No.
Okay. See, American Airlines and United, they're both going to get bailed out. I don't think it's going to be enough, but they're going to be bailed out by the government. Mm-hmm. The little guy never gets bailed out.
Never.
The only people that ever get bailed out are the big boys.
Right.
So if you want to protect your family, you want to protect your church, your charity, you got to get big. I say go big or go bigger.
Go big or fuck off. No.
Or go bigger, dude. But don't go home. Right. Don't go, ain't nothing at your home.
Right. And so on that point though, one of the things I wanted to ask you, so like you have a lot of people following you in your journey, right? A lot of entrepreneurs are like Cardone-ists, right? So, what, like in your world, you talk a lot about how you don't think people should own their homes. And that always stirs up a lot of controversy where people are like, oh, that's the American dream, owning your home, this is that, whatever. What is the logic? So for the people out there listening that are going to be listening to this, what is the logic for them? Because your whole life, again, we're put on this conveyor belt where we're like, go to school, get a job, do this. And listen, and for me, like I didn't have a college education. I started this when I was in high school, and I never went to college. I just kept going. And so I've always tried to be different and go against the grain, but I always fight with people because once I heard this concept from you, I mentioned it to a couple of people, and they were on like a spree of like, oh, that there's no way, it doesn't make any sense. You have assets and this and that. So what is the logic behind that statement?
Well, number one, a house is not an asset. So, any financial planner will tell you would never put it on a net worth statement ever.
Right.
It is excluded. Your house is excluded from your net worth evaluation.
Right.
Any more than you going to put your furniture on there? Okay. I got a lazy boy chair. It's worth $200. No, because you're going to need another chair. So you're going to get rid of that chair. You're going to get $200 and then you're going to go buy another chair. Same thing with a house. You have to live someplace.
Right.
A house is a liability.
Right.
It is a liability because you have to pay for it.
Mm.
Okay. This phone is not a liability because of the way I use it.
Right.
It makes me money. It's a tool.
Right.
This phone's worth more to me than where I live. Now I have to live someplace. This is always the argument of the homeowner. But I got to live someplace, and it's cheaper to own than it is to rent. Now, well, you need to really do the math because it's not cheaper to own. You had to top capital. You signed for 30 years. I don't know what that's worth to you. I don't want to sign to nothing for 30 years, man.
Right.
Okay. I'm looking for my freedom.
Right.
If I'm in the same place 30 years from now that I'm in right now, that ain't a good sign. That means my life didn't change.
Yeah.
And so a house is, and look, you're going to see it in this cycle right here. 2008, millions of people lost their homes.
Right.
But they lost an asset.
You
had people walking away from them, say, here's the keys. I don't want it. I'm going to keep my car though.
Right.
I'm going to keep my credit card, but I'm going to keep my Starbucks redemptions. But I'm leaving the house because the house cost them. They couldn't leave. They couldn't move. They were obligated to it for another 26 years and they were underwater.
Mm.
Why? Why was it underwater? Because a house does not produce income.
Right. You're only spending into it.
And an asset is only as valuable as the income it produces.
Got it.
So,
and I think you said it best though, when you just said that, like, it's not on your net worth sheet. Like, I think that clearly just then you poke you in the butt.
Some people put it on there. I'm like, what's that doing on there? What are you going to get rid of it? You can't even sell it. Here in this cycle, you're going to have tens of millions of people are going to be stuck with a house that they don't want anymore. Oh, by the way, the job market's moving now. Let's say you were in LA,
mm-hmm.
and let's say LA ends up going bankrupt. Probably will.
Right.
And the 35 million unemployed goes to 40 million. Okay. 10% of those are going to be in California. So now nobody wants to buy your house. The guy next door to you can't keep his house. He had to leave and go to Austin to get a job.
Wow.
Okay. Now what happens?
Right.
Oh, by the way, you had a job offer and it happened to be in Nashville, but you couldn't take it because, you own a home.
Mm.
You don't want that. These are anchors, man.
Not agile.
You need to move mobility to stay and remain mercurial.
Right.
Now, once you get rich, you buy whatever you want to buy.
Right.
If your balance sheet is like, you're like, fuck it. Elon Musk just bought, not Elon, the other dude, Bezos just bought a $165 million house in LA. Somebody said, what do you think about Bezos? He's rich as fuck, dude.
He's doing his thing. Right.
Bro, it's not even measurable.
Right.
It's not even, it means nothing. It was like him flipping off. It was like, here's $165 million. It means nothing to him. He'll probably tear the house down. Okay, he's worth $170 billion or something. It means nothing.
Right.
It's less than 1% of his net worth, right? So
insane.
He can go buy a $200 million yacht on top of that, and 2 more houses just like it. It means nothing. By the way, he's got more income coming in every second of every day.
Right.
So once you're in that position, to where you're not earning money and you're not paying. Like I will never spend. Here's the trick I use. This never let me down. I do not spend earned income on anything. Like earned income, I take my earned income. If I earned $1 million or $10 million and I end up with $6 million, I take the $6 million. I don't spend the $6 million. I invest the $6 million, all of it, left over after taxes. And then what I do is anything the $6 million investment throws off, let's say it throws me 600 grand a year.
Right.
I live off the 600 grand.
Oh, got it.
So I never spend my earned income. I only spend my passive income.
Wow. That's
and if you do that, it'll be impossible to ever go broke.
Right. Right. You're lean as fuck.
Well, I'm living off of one income.
Right.
Just my investment income.
Right.
Okay. So the implications to that are like they just like magnify, like everything gets fixed. Every spending problem a person has gets fixed, because that's why people are like, dude, why don't you have like, you know, a garage of cars? Because that's stupid.
Right.
Like I don't one, it's not my deal. You know, if I want a bunch of cars, I go to a car dealership.
Right. Will you buy or lease if you like for any
100% I would lease.
Got it.
I would never lease more than 2 years. I would tell people don't ever lease more than 24 months. If you can't afford the payment on 24 months, you can't afford the car. And I would probably never buy. In very few situations would I buy a car. There are situations where I would pay cash for a car.
Right.
I bought a Cullinan two Christmases ago because I leased one. I leased one for my wife, gave it to her, wrote it up under the business. It's actually a business car. And then I took the Cullinan, paid cash for it, put it on my stage at 10X, sold it, and wrote it off.
It was sick.
Yeah, but it was a write-off. It was a gimmick car. I'm using the IRS.
Right.
That's the other thing about the earned income and passive income game, right? When I invest the $6 million, let's say I invest the full $6 million that I earned off the 10 after taxes. When I get the $6 million invested, I'm going to get in the right kind of investments. I'm probably going to get enough of a tax write-off to go back and recover some of that $4 million I lost in taxes paid.
Boom. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
You're just waiting to hit that thing, huh?
Uncle G, you're going to make me break it. And let me ask you a question. You know, as we're coming to the end here, you know, is there a number for you that you're like, shit, man, I made it. That's it. I'm good. Like, have you ever had?
I mean, not really. You know, the number is, man, how many people can I help?
Right.
Do I have any more energy? Do I have any more intelligence to help people? You know, the big thing about helping people, man, is, you know, this has never failed me. When I got out of the treatment center, I only had one thing. I had, you know, 30 days no drugs. And I'm like, dude, let me help somebody else get their first day.
Right.
And I started helping people. And the more I helped them get off drugs, I stayed sober one more day. I stayed clean. It kept me clean that one day. And then when I got in sales and started learning sales, I've always liked teaching people. I've always been like, let me show you a better way to do it. And I'm that one of those guys, right? So I started helping people in sales. The more I helped them, the more I learned.
Right.
And so here I am, like 30 years later, and I'm like, the more I help other people, the clearer. I don't know if I'm learning more or I'm becoming more clear, I understand the topic better by teaching it. So I just want to help more people, man. There's not a financial number.
What was the number that you first ever saw in your journey that got you amped up? Was it like?
It was. I wanted to earn. This is the first number. My dream was to earn $10,000 a month in passive income. Okay. I said, dude, if I earn $10,000 a month, if I ever earn 10 grand a month, and I thought I needed 100 grand. I needed 100 grand, a 10% return. No, I wanted to earn $10,000 cash flow a year.
Right. And you're set for life.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be good, man. So, now, like, I've done some, crazy things in my life now. I mean, we bought a jet a couple of years ago. It was a big purchase. That was out of passive income, by the way.
Wow. Yeah, that's baller. That's baller. That's big stuff.
That kind of stuff, So
Right.
I did this crazy. You probably saw the video. You probably saw the BK video, right?
Yes.
And I'm sitting there joking about going bankrupt and everything. The timing was probably wrong and everything, but the whole thing, I'm just sitting there because somebody said, Cardone's going to go down in flames in this cycle, blah blah blah. And I started joking about it.
Right.
I never thought for a second anybody would believe it.
Right.
Because of how prudent I have been. Look, I didn't have a European. My first year luxury car was a BMW.
Right.
I was 45 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I never flew private on a plane until I bought my plane.
Mm.
I'd never done Netflix or NetJets or.
Yeah.
Dude, I flew coach for 2 million out of 3 million miles.
Wow.
Because it was cheaper to fly coach. Like, I've been extremely frugal.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell everybody, man, look, find somebody you can follow that's done it and that's still doing it right now, and study everything they're doing, and decide who you want to be.
Right.
Who do you really want to be? And then be smart with your money, man. You got to be smart with money.
That's all. Listen, you dropped some insane knowledge bombs. I'm so grateful for your time. And the last thing I want to ask you, and you kind of briefly touched on it, but what is going to be on Grant Cardone's gravestone? What's the legacy he's leaving behind for his daughters, his wife, his future generations? Like, what are you leaving behind on this earth?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. Shit. I'm thinking about dying. I don't know. Somebody's going to be, I
got a better one.
I don't know, man.
What would you tell your younger self that was in rehab? What you have learned throughout the entire decades? What would you tell yourself?
Well, looking back now, I'd be like,
looking back,
bro, like, go big or go bigger.
Yeah.
Like, the small game does not work.
Right.
I was brought up to be a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was brought up to be satisfied, be happy. I could have easily ended up in a refinery, working in a refinery. No, there's nothing wrong with working in a refinery, by the way.
Right.
But go big, go big. It doesn't take any more energy. It's no more work.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's watching this right now, you can be a billionaire. You could be worth 100 billion. You got to think big. You got to get around the right people, and you have to risk money.
Right.
Money is garbage. It is. It's no more than a crowbar. And what is a crowbar? You leave
a cigar and light up the hundreds.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. Well, those weren't real hundreds. I would never do that to real hundreds.
Of course.
But money's a crowbar. It's a lever, right? And debt is good as long as you're not using it to buy watches and bullshit.
Right.
And so get a good team around you that can think big, and get rid of everyone around you that's telling you to settle and take it easy. And you don't need all this, and that doesn't make you happy. Those people are giving you advice about something they've never done.
Mm-hmm.
Every person that's ever told me money won't make me happy, every one of them, not one of them ever had any money.
Right.
Okay. When people tell me you work too hard, not one person that works harder than me has ever told me that. Okay. The hitters, did they inspire me? They're like, man, you're doing the right thing, man. Keep pressing on, man. Press on, man. Press on. The people below me, not to say anybody's below me, but
in work ethic.
Yeah, in work ethic, right? They're like, oh my God, you're going to burn the candle at both ends. I'm like, yeah, I ain't a candle, bro. So beware. Everybody needs to really beware of all the people that give you advice that don't know anything about what they're talking about.
Amen, man. That's if not anything, I think that's one of the biggest golden nuggets that we can take away from this, because there's so many fake ass Instagram influencers, coaches, this, that, who don't have the experience. Like you said, whether they wrote a one page ebook, or, you know, look at the guy who's actually doing it. And I like what you said, look at the company, not so much the people. I think that's big. Yeah. And Grant, while we wrap this up here, where, you know, I know you have so much going on with Cardone University. You have a lot of stuff going on right now. I heard you know, this week pushing out that you have stuff going on. I think you're giving away, you said, free memberships, or you're doing something like that.
Yeah. Cardone, ever since the pandemic happened, you know, with all these unemployment, all the terrible stuff, the companies going under. Right. I said, hey, how can we help right now? So we made Cardone U available for free. Okay. You can grab it for 14 days for free for 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
And then it's like $99. Okay. If you want to keep it. Now, if at the end of 14 days, you still don't have $99 and you need, just call my office and we'll extend it. It's not an issue. We're helping companies out, military people, first responders, unemployed, 32 million people, maybe 35 million people now unemployed. There's videos in there how to get a job in 72 hours. I guarantee you it'll get you a job and it won't cost you one penny. There's no strings attached.
Wow.
So that's one way we can help right now.
One more for you, Grant.
Awesome, man.
And for anybody else out there, where can they find you? I know, obviously, on Instagram, website, like, plug yourself, please.
Yeah, Grant Cardone. You just, wherever you are, just put in Grant Cardone, you'll find me.
And boom. Do you know what your top 3 searches are when you type in Grant Cardone?
No, what are they?
Are you ready for this? So
Sure.
the first one is Grant Cardone net worth. Okay.
Okay. what is my net worth today?
So again, let's
let me see. Let me go see.
Google it. Let's see. It said, I think last time I saw it, let me see. I think it said 100 million or something like that.
Oh no, I can't say that.
Let's see.
That's ridiculous.
So
okay. Well, yeah, that's a respectable number. Okay.
300 mil, it says.
Yeah. They can't keep up with me. So, okay. What is the other thing? Grant Cardone.
It says Grant Cardone age and then Grant Cardone wife.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, man.
Those are the top 3 things looked at for you. How old are you?
How do you look that up? How do you do that?
Yeah, so when you're in Google, go to Google, and then when you just type in Grant Cardone, you'll see suggestions come underneath it.
Yeah. Oh, and the wiki. It says wiki.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So those are all the things that people are searching for.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Thank you for showing me that.
Of course, man. Absolutely. It just shows you. And also, what I'll do is I'll shoot you over a tool where when it'll show you when people search for your name, all the things that pop up. The cool part, actually, one of the things. So again, in the list, you have Grant Cardone net worth. You know, your Wikipedia, 10x, your story, how you got started.
Because we don't even have a wiki page.
And people are searching for it, though.
Yeah, they're searching for it on wiki, but man, I hate it because anybody could add anything to the wiki.
Yeah.
We just killed it. It was just garbage dump.
It is. You're right. It's no good. But
and they ask for money all the time. And look, I'd be like, guys, I'd give you money,
right? But
not as long as every Tom, Dick, and Harry can go in there and just shit on my page. Like, it's not It's ridiculous.
It's no good. But yeah, so that's your Google searches. So before I was doing that, I thought that was interesting. So net worth, age, and wife are the most common.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. So listen, bro. Hey, thank you again for your time today. You know, it's one of the assets that you don't get back, and I appreciate you spending it with us. You know, God bless you, man, for doing what you do, bro. On your journey.
Man. Be great, brother. Appreciate you. All right.
Yeah, brother. All right, man. Hey, take care, Grant.
Thanks.